Yes, our presentation is about to begin. Okay, let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon from Indonesia. Dear respected lecturers from Novosibirsk State Pedagogical University and dear students, it's a great honor and pleasure for me to be here today. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Benny Crispiantoro. You may call me Benny. I'm from English Education Study Program of Saizu University, Purwokerto. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share and discuss this topic with all of you. How to teach speaking? We're going to learn about what is speaking, the methods in teaching speaking, media and technology, speaking activities, tips for online teaching, and discussion and Q&A session. Okay, now I want you to write in the chat box in the Zoom meeting, or probably you can raise your hand and we're going to discuss about this question. Yeah, this is an easy question. The question is, what makes students afraid to speak English? If you are in the Zoom meeting, you can type your answer in the chat box, or you can raise hand, or you can simply answer what makes the students afraid to speak English. Okay, can anyone tell me what makes the students afraid to speak English?
They're afraid of making mistakes, and maybe they're afraid of others making fun of them.
Oh. Okay, the students are afraid to speak English because they lack of their vocabularies and they are afraid to make mistakes, of course, and they're afraid if their friends are laugh at him or her. Okay, I'm going to see. The fear of mistakes, yes, very good. Mistakes, not knowing what to say. They actually understand what their interlocutors have said, but they don't know how to respond properly in English. What else? Afraid of making mistakes, not knowing what to say, lack of vocabularies. How about pronunciation? Do you think pronunciation is one of many things the students are scared of?
Yes.
Yes, very good. Pronunciation. What else? How about grammar?
Right.
How about the grammar and accuracy?
Maybe the stage fright.
The stage fright. Yes, excellent. The stage fright. They are ready at home. They are all set, but when they come and they have to speak in front of the public, they feel so scared to say what they have to say. Yes, and it's normal, it's natural that everyone is afraid to speak English. Okay, thank you very much for having a very short discussion about what makes students afraid to speak English. Now, let's get started with the definition of speaking. Speaking is a communication process using spoken language. It helps people express ideas, thoughts, and feelings. Speaking is interactive and meaningful activity, like when we are doing right now. I speak to you, you speak to me. We are all doing the same activity, which is speaking activity. Why speaking really matters, everyone? First, it can build confidence. Second, it improves communication. Then it develops vocabulary and it supports real life interaction. So these are why speaking really matters. If you can speak very fluently, it means that you have very good confidence. You can build your confidence by speaking to your friends with a very small topic, starting from a chit chat to the most academic topic in your speaking, especially in academic or advanced speaking. And also, when you practice speaking a lot, it can improve the way you communicate with your friends, the way how you respond, the way how you think what the purpose of your friend is delivering the message in their speaking. And then it develops vocabularies. There are lots of vocabularies you can master after you practice speaking here and there. And then finally, it can support real life interaction. The characteristics of good speaking. Number one is fluency, how fluent you are when you speak English, the pronunciation, the grammar, the vocabulary, and the confidence. These are the characteristics of good speaking. Like what we have discussed earlier, the pronunciation is really important because when we mispronounce some words, our friends, our speaking partners will not understand or will not get the meaning or the message. And then the grammar. I think the grammar, if we can speak to our friends clearly with good grammar and our friends can respond to our speaking comprehensively, it means that we have been in a good situation. So one thing that you have to ponder is that don't think about grammatical mistakes that you want to have in your speaking practice. But at least as long as your friends understand, give respond accurately and relevantly, so the speaking can must go on. And then the vocabulary, confidence, of course. Speaking problems in class. What are the speaking problems in class? Number one, students feel shy. Number two, fear of making mistakes, limited vocabulary. This is the biggest problem when we learn foreign languages. We don't know the vocabularies, so we cannot speak that language fluently. Lack of confidence, yeah. We feel so afraid to speak to the other people. We are afraid if the other people laughed when we make mistakes. And then limited speaking opportunities can be one of the speaking problems in the class. When the lecturers or the students, they only learn something specifically, but they have no chance to speak a lot to show their speaking ability, it will be a big problem because they will use their English only in the classroom. Like in Indonesia, English is a foreign language. So we as teachers in Indonesia, we have to give many opportunities to our students to speak a lot with different and various topics. Now, what are the teachers' role? Okay, number one is as a facilitator. Teacher can facilitate the learning to the students. Teacher can also be the motivator, especially for those or for the students who are reluctant to join our speaking class, for example. They can motivate the students to speak a lot, to work in pairs, to try to speak from the basic sentences. And teacher can be a language model for their students. Teachers can be a feedback provider, especially for supportive feedback. It can be given from the teachers, but somehow it can be given from their friends, like peer feedback. So the teachers can give a progressive feedback. For example, in a debate class, when the students have to debate on a particular motion, whether they agree or disagree with that motion. After they have finished having a debate, the teachers can give feedback on their fluency, on their argumentation, on their manner, and methods, like what we have understood on debate, or probably on their performance. Of course, as teachers, you have to make some notes when when your students are speaking or practicing speaking. It can be direct feedback, like what I do in my speaking class. I sometimes give a direct feedback when the students make mistake, but on some other occasions, I collected it first and then I would like to give feedback at the end of their practice. So the feedback can be during or when the students are speaking or practice speaking, or it can be after all the pairs or the groups perform. And then the classroom manager, as a teacher, you have to manage the classroom. Of course, you have to monitor each student progress. Yeah. What if there are many students in our class? Of course, we can group them. Yeah, we can group them, we can split them, we can try to uh, give them each responsibility. Yeah, like in a role play or a simulation or so on and so forth. So these are the teacher's role. We do not only teach, but we have to facilitate, motivate, be a good language model, give or provide feedback, and manage the classroom. Now, language acquisition. Children learn language naturally. Interaction is important. Practice creates improvement. The more you practice your foreign language, the better your language improvement will be. But if you never practice, you will never get an enhancement at all on your speaking, especially on the fluency. Environment affects learning. I really believe that environment really affects the learning. Environment really influence the person. Like like when I was in my university, I was afraid to speak English all the time. But when I joined an English club, the environment formed me to be a brave speaker. Yeah, to speak to the other people in English all the time. So environment affects learning. In order to speak fluently, you have to create your own environment. You have to pick what environment you belong to, and then try to use that environment because it will enhance your learning, especially on speaking. There are some factors which affect speaking skills. Number one, age. Number two, motivation. Of course, when you have to master your speaking skill, you have to possess a high motivation. So keep your motivation fly higher and higher, especially when the goal or the purpose is you want to be able to speak English fluently. Yeah, the age, the motivation. The age means the earlier the better. You have to try to learn English from an early age with a basic vocabularies, basic topics, and then now the older, the more complicated topics. Yeah, like when we join an academic speaking, so we have to use academic words. Yeah, we're no longer use the common words because we know the situation. If it is an academic, so please try to use as many as possible academic words, academic grammar or advanced grammar, and then motivation. Yeah, motivation, it can be your inner motivation, external and internal motivation. So if you don't have internal motivation, try to find your speaking partners to motivate you. But of course, your internal motivation uh, has more proportion than your external motivation because you have the goal. Like when we reach our dream, we want to reach our dream, we want to pursue our education, so we have to keep the motivation. Yeah, if we have the motivation, we will have the strategies to reach that dream. And then the environment, it really affects speaking skills. First, language influence, like me in Indonesia, we have Indonesian language and we also have local language, Japanese language. It can influence our second language or third language. But of course, we don't think about that influence, but we can try to use English. Use English. Do not try to uh, get difficulty because the accent is influenced by your local language. But the speaking must go on. And then the teacher support. Of course, the teacher must support their students. Yeah. And then the methods in teaching speaking. Number one is direct method. Number two, natural method. Number three, conversation method. Number four, phonetic method. Five, reading method. Pattern practice method. And what is direct method? In direct method, teacher uses English directly. There isn't any translation. So the teacher will use English directly, no translation. Students imitate and practice what the teacher has spoken. Focus on speaking and listening. The students in the classroom, they listen to their teachers and they imitate and practice what their teachers have spoken to them. This is a direct method. For example, direct method. Teacher points to a pen and says, "This is a pen," like in children class. This is a pen. Students repeat together. This is a pen. Students practice in pairs, but the teacher can use varieties of objects. Yeah, this is a pen, but when they practice in pair, they can use the other objects like this is an eraser, this is a ruler, this is my bag, this is his pencil case, and etc. That is direct method. Now the next one is the natural method. What is the natural method? In natural method learning, like first language acquisition, listening first, speaking later, like a baby. A baby learns language from listening, listening to their parents, listening to the people around him. And then they can speak later after getting several knowledge from the listening. In natural method, the communication must be meaningful, and natural method enables low stress learning. For example, teacher shows picture of food. Teacher shows picture of food. Students say simple words, what the foods are, like apple, rice, and bread. Okay, so this is natural method. They can speak, yeah, naturally based on the food or the pictures of food provided by the teacher in the classroom. It means that in natural method, the students have no pressure to speak perfectly. Just speak what they have to speak based on what they have seen, based on what they have listened. Okay. The next one is conversation method. It focuses on daily communication. The students practice dialogues. It builds fluency. For example, of the conversation method, good morning, how are you? As a teacher, you say this. Good morning, how are you? The students, I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine, thank you. Okay, this is an easy example of conversation method. And then the teacher asks, what did you do yesterday? What did you do yesterday? One of the students responded, yeah, I visited my parents' house, for example. Yeah, and the conversation can go on and on. Yeah, this is a conversation method. So you use this conversation to build the fluency. They can listen to your question, they respond what the expression is appropriate to your question. Like, what did you do yesterday? The student will say, I visited in visited verb to. Yeah, not I will visit. Yeah. After using conversation method again and again, the students can enhance their fluency. Yeah. The next one is phonetic method. Phonetic method focuses on pronunciation. And in phonetic method, the students will listen and repeat. Listen and repeat, like in a drilling. Yeah. Like in a drilling question. Yeah. We have drilling, we have substitutional drilling, like repeat after me. So the student listen and repeat. Phonetic method is useful for beginner learners. Yeah, like in teenagers, like for children or kindergarten or preschool children. Yeah. And then the next one is pattern practice method. Pattern practice method. Students repeat sentence patterns. Students repeat sentence patterns. Practice makes language automatic. Okay, so the more the student practice, their language will be automatically spoken. Yeah, they will construct their speaking. Yeah, because they practice again and again. And for pattern practice method, it is good for drilling expressions. Yeah, not only repeat after me, but you may say you can use substitutional drilling. Yeah, when I say I don't like pizza, and then you can replace I don't like with another expression. Yeah, the teacher says I don't like pizza, the students will say I dislike pizza. Pizza is not my cup of tea. I detest pizza. Yeah, things like that. So pattern practice method, when the student use this method, they can use them for drilling expression. Okay, this is an example of pattern drill. I like apples. I like apples. And the student substitute apples with bananas, oranges, mangoes. Yeah, I like apples. The student, I like bananas. I like oranges. I like mangoes. We can focus on the verb. I like apples. Bananas are my favorite fruits. I love oranges. Now, the teaching media in speaking. We have pictures. You can use pictures to teach speaking or to learn speaking. You can use picture and then try to describe what is in the picture. Flashcard. You can use flashcard. Yeah, flashcard to understand how you can use the vocabulary, especially when you have flashcard. We have the vocabulary, we have the meaning, we have how to pronounce that vocabulary, we can how to use the vocabulary in a sentence. We can find out what the picture is like in the flashcard. Yeah, we can create our own flashcard as creative as possible. Yeah, flashcard can contain the name of the vocabulary, the meaning, the type of word, how it can be pronounced, how it can be used in the sentence, and so on and so forth. And then the next one is videos. We can use videos to learn speaking, or we can use videos to invite our friends to start speaking. Like, for example, you can invite your friends to watch the videos together with you, and then you have a debate based on the content of the videos. Or you can ask about your friends' comment on the video, whether they like it or they don't like it. Or it can be a movie. A movie can be a teaching media. You can ask your friend to mention what the lesson they can take from the movie, who the favorite actor, who is the least favorite actor and the most favorite actor, why and why not. Yeah, what about the story? Would you like to recommend this movie or not? Yeah, if you are the director of that movie, what would you like to improve? Things like that. So you can use video to both teach your students, learn, or try to use the video to speak English. Songs. Songs can be one of the teaching media to learn speaking. Yeah. And then the next one is podcast. Like when you watch podcasts on YouTube or on the internet. First, I use podcasts, but I don't know what podcast. And then I try to connect with my favorite actors, with my favorite actress, with my favorite movies, for example. And then I try to search, yeah, whether my idol is in that podcast or not. If my idol is in the podcast, yeah, as for example, as the speaker in the podcast, so I will be very interested in watching that podcast. So use the podcast and of course try the podcast that really interests you. So your motivation to watch the podcast to be able to speak English will be higher and higher. And then real objects or realia, you can use a real objects to bring along with you to the classroom or to your English speaking club. Yeah, the real objects. For example, if you have your favorite food, you can bring along with you to the classroom or to your speaking club, or try to use that real object. For example, in procedure text, yeah, you bring how to make fried rice. Yeah, you bring the fried rice and then you ask your friends about, can you guess how I can make it? Yeah, so they can taste it first and then how I can make the fried rice, what are the ingredients, and so on and so forth. Yeah, from the real objects, and then you can keep your conversation going. And then using pictures. Why do we have to use pictures? Because pictures stimulate ideas. Pictures stimulate ideas. Students describe images. Yeah, like I think everyone like pictures better than words. Yeah, pictures support storytelling. Yeah, you can use picture to support your storytelling to your friends or to the other people. And then the activity example is describing the picture. Show a market picture. Okay, like the picture displayed here. This is a traditional market in Indonesia. And then after showing a market picture, you ask the students, what do you see? Is it only that question? No, you can ask the follow-up questions. What do you see? One of the student can say, oh, this is a traditional market. There are many people. What are they doing? They are selling and buying. They are bargaining. They are selling dairy products. Yeah, they are selling grocery products. Yeah, things like that. This is the way how you utilize the pictures in your speaking class. And then students describe people and activities seen in the picture. Using videos provide authentic language. Students observe pronunciation and expressions found in the videos, how the actors or the actresses pronounce those words. Or probably you can figure out, oh, this is the expression that you really want to look for actually, but you can find it in the video. Yeah, so you can get new expressions from the videos, and then you can use those expressions in your daily conversations. You can post videos for discussion, yeah, with your students or with your friends in your club. Post, you can ask, can you guess what's going on with the actor? Can you guess why this happens to him, to them? Yeah, post the videos for discussion. It will be really fun. And then the technology in teaching speaking. Like what we use right now, we use Zoom, and I oftentimes use Zoom breakout rooms to assign my students to speak in their groups. Yeah. For example, there are 20 students, and I will divide them into 5 groups. Each group consists of 4 students, so there will be 5 breakout rooms. As a teacher, I will monitor them one by one. I will move from breakout room 1 to breakout room 2, 3, 4, and 5. After they have finished discussing, I will ask them to go back to the main room and make a report what they have discussed, what challenges they faced in the breakout room. Okay. And then Padlet, we can use Padlet in writing and in speaking because we can record our voices in Padlet and our friends can give response to our videos, yeah, or we can type and then record, or we can record first our video and we can ask our students to write, yeah, to write what we have spoken in that video, or not every single word, of course, but they can write what is in the video, what is the limitation, what is the strength, what to improve, and so on and so forth. And the next one is YouTube. Of course, everyone is familiar with this platform, YouTube. We can use YouTube to teach speaking. Podcast, speech recognition apps. Yeah, like in speech notes. Yeah, speech notes. Yeah, I usually use speech notes application in website when I speak, when I present, when I have a presentation. I speak in front of this website, and uh, the speech notes will show every single word I have delivered one by one. Yeah, even they can revise, they can try to figure out what the appropriate words. Yeah, and then we can use the speech note as the speech recognition apps to practice if our pronunciation is correct, whether our vocabulary is understood by that application, and what to improve for the next practice. Podcast activity. Students listen to a short podcast. Students summarize orally. Yeah, they can be asked to make a summary orally based on what they have heard from the podcast. Students discuss the main ideas or the contents, or they can be asked a specific questions from the content of the podcast, like who, what, when, where, what will happen next. And then the next one is speaking techniques. In speaking techniques, we have discussion. Okay, speaking techniques, one of them is discussion. Number two is role play. Number three, simulation. Number four, storytelling. Number five, story completion. What is role play activity? For example, you as a teacher provide a situation. The situation is at the restaurant. One student as a waiter, another student as a customer. And then ask the student to practice using expressions politely. Yeah, as a waiter, you have to greet the customer and provides the menu, for example. What would you like to order, sir? And the customer respond. This is the way how you do the role play activity. You can ask the students to start speaking by using the models that you have provided beforehand. Yeah. So the role play activity must be given the examples first. This is like what you have to do later. Yeah, but with different topic. The first topic probably in a dentist room. Yeah, one student is as a dentist, another student as a patient, and you provide uh, the script of the role play. Ask one, two students to act the role play out. Yeah, use that model for the next role play activity. Yeah, so you have to highlight what you want your students to do on their fluency, on their pronunciation, their grammar, their vocabulary, their functional expression use. Yeah, whether your students have really understand how to use polite expressions in formal situations. The next one is discussion activity. Okay, discussion activity. The topic, should students wear uniforms? You provide this topic to your students. Should students wear uniforms? Students share opinions. Yeah. In my opinion, I think as far as I'm concerned, you ask your students to use as many opinion expression as possible. Yeah, not only I think, in my opinion, yeah, and try to ask them the follow-up activity or ask them what the reasons. Yeah. So the students state their opinion and then you ask for the explanation. Yeah, why the students should wear uniform. The student explain further by providing the reasons and examples. For example, teacher guides discussion. Storytelling activity. Students retell a story. Use sequence words like first, then, and finally. can use pictures as prompts. Yeah, it will be more fun if you use pictures. For example, you want to do a storytelling to your students, yeah, about a folktale or a legend or a fable. So you can provide pictures related as prompts before you finally start your storytelling. First, then finally, okay, and you can try to ask your students for the follow-up activities after a storytelling activity. Like in speaking, after they do speaking, of course, we can do some follow-up activities like writing, or probably they can try to make a report what they have learned, what they have already been good at. Yeah, I'm good at, yeah, I'm still, or I still need to improve in what aspects. Yeah. And then story completion activity. Teacher starts a story. Students continue one by one. It encourages creativity and fluency. Yeah, I know that everyone has different creativity, has different fluency, but using this activity, the teacher can make sure that the students can practice speaking. Yeah, story completion activity. Teacher starts a story. Students continue one by one. Yeah, it encourages creativity and fluency. You as a teacher try to guide. Yeah, if one of your students doesn't understand, you can give a clue. Oh, this is the way how you start with, for example, one day in, yeah, in a jungle there are, yeah, and then you try to guide. Yeah, it depends on your students level. Yeah. And then tips for online speaking classes. What are the tips for online speaking classes? Use breakout rooms. Keep activities short because this is online. Yeah. Use visuals. Use visuals. Yeah. It is more engaging and interesting for students to look at the visuals rather than words. Yeah. Give positive feedback. Of course, the student needs feedback. Yeah. And the feedback can be for all actually. You can state that the feedback is for all of you as your enhancement on your argumentation generation, for example. You try to generate this, but yeah, okay. I really like when I teach debate class, yeah, because we can give feedback for the students, especially on how they can generate their argument. If you do this, why? If you don't do this, why or why not? If your opponent says this, you have to anticipate with what solution. If they disagree with your argument, what you have to do? Yeah, you have to state your arguments. You have to try to convince that their argument is weak. Yeah. Okay, this is the way how you give feedback. And giving feedback is challenging at the first time, but the more you practice giving feedback, the better it will be. So when you have speaking classes or when you have speaking club, try to give feedback to your friends. And of course, you have to be a good listener. Yeah, be open-minded with your friends' feedback. Yeah, because we don't know what our weaknesses are. Our friends will tell us about that. Encourage all students. Yeah, encourage all students to take a part in our speaking. Yeah, even in for one or two sentences, or or they can speak, yeah, but still they hesitate what to say. Yeah, or they need to deepen their knowledge on that particular topic, for example. Yeah, because the more knowledge they have on that particular topic, they will speak fluently because they know what and how to say related to the specific topic provided to be discussed. How to increase participation? As a teacher, you can ask simple questions first. Ask simple question first. And then don't forget to praise student effort. From little effort, you can try, that's good. Yeah, that's very good. Good job. Excellent. Awesome. Nice try. Nice work. Well done. Yeah. And then try to give your statement after saying good job, thank you, very good, you need to improve in this matter. Actually, students like when the teacher gives feedback. Yeah. And then use games and quizzes. Students like playing games. Here in the classroom as well, the students can use games for learning. Yeah, they can use games to speak with their friends. Yeah, like for example, board game. Yeah, or they can use guessing games. Yeah, they can use guessing game. In the guessing game, they can speak. Yeah, and then quizzes. Allow pair practice. Do not focus only on individual performance, but as a teacher, we allow pair practice because, like what the saying say, two heads are better than one. Yeah, two heads are better than one. It means that when they are paired up, they feel confident to speak. But when they are alone, they are afraid to make mistakes. When they are paired, even when they are in groups, it will be much better because they will get motivated by their friends to speak up. Assessment in speaking. Number one is pronunciation. Number two, fluency. Number three, grammar. Number four, vocabulary. Number five, interaction. This is the sample speaking rubric. I think we have different types of speaking rubric. We have excellent. If the student can speak fluently and confidently, good. Yeah, the student can speak, but there seems to have minor mistakes. Fair, hesitant speaking, they speak with some pauses, for example. Yeah, needs improvement, very limited responses. So this is only one example of speaking rubric. You can pay attention on pronunciation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vocabulary, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Grammar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With of course, with the description for each. Yeah. The student oftentimes mispronounce several words. Oh, one. The student mispronounced, but only for a few words. You can give 4 to 5. Now, let's go on to the reflection questions. What speaking activity works best with you? Okay, please answer to this question. What speaking activity works best with you in your classroom or in your speaking club? What speaking activity works best with you? Role play, simulation, discussion, all of them.
Discussion.
Discussion. Okay, can you tell us your experience when having a discussion? In what topic and what challenges do you face in your discussion? What do you like to discuss?
Once we discuss once we discussed stories that we
read before in a class, and we shared our opinion on characters, what happened, whether we liked the story or not, whether we liked how it ended, and I think it was a pretty good discussion because everyone has a opportunity to share with the class and to speak up. And it really encourages you to use the language.
So discussions based on the text of fine literature.
Okay, that's very good. Yes. So discussion is based on their topic, but what if one or two friends of yours are reluctant to join or to participate in the discussion? Because there will be discussion leader, of course. So if you are the discussion leader, what strategy you will use to make your friends participate?
Firstly, we can ask them some questions, maybe some controversial questions, so they can really discuss a problem for not just to answer yes or no. Then we can give some certain roles in discussion. So that's why everyone has a certain part.
Very good. Okay, so they have their own responsibilities, their roles, and of course, it really helps us, especially when one person tries to dominate in the discussion. Okay, thank you. What about the others? I don't think all of you agree with the discussion works best. How about role play? Who likes to have role play? Like my children at home, because I have two children. Yeah, they like to do role play at home. Yeah, one
Oh,
as.
my me too.
What about you? Do you like doing role play?
Yes, I really liked it. When I was younger, when we were learning the history of British culture, we were role playing. Everyone had each role, and for example, there were such historic figures like Henry the Eighth, Utica, and others. So everyone had their own role. And after that, we had a play, and we discussed some problems. Our teacher gave us questions we should discuss, and we used all the materials and vocabulary we had before. Also, we once had a trial about Titanic, where all of us were lawyers and some of us were just representing the Titanic and the others were representing the victims of the crushing. So I think the role plays are good, especially
Okay.
if you're talking about teenagers.
Yes. Okay, very good. Yes, thank you. And the second question is, how do you motivate shy students? For example, in the speaking club, of course, we have several shy students. So what your strategy to motivate shy students or shy friends?
We can just ask them directly by their names to answer the questions, for example.
Ask them directly to answer the questions.
Yes,
Okay.
it works a lot.
Yes,
I think
what else?
so you have to try better. It depends on the student. Some kids you can really just ask them directly and they will answer, but sometimes they can be too shy. So I would recommend maybe praising them, even if it's something simple, even if their answer was short. giving them motivation and praise, make them less stressed. And also, sometimes they can be shy because they lack confidence. And so, for example, if you want them to engage in a discussion, you can give them some sort of grammatical structures. So you can write something on the board. You can give out some papers to students, some vocabularies that they can use. They can talk while using this vocabulary. And also, if there are some students that are better than the others, and you can ask kids to work in this, and the shy student will work with this confident student, and you can even ask this confident student to help the shy student out.
Okay, thank you. That's very good. Okay, the next one is, what media do you use most often? What media do you use most often in practicing to speak? Videos, pictures, real objects? Okay, can you share your experience? What media works best for you? Yeah. Do you like to use videos or probably songs or podcast? Anyone want to share?
Personally, I like the video world. For example, I attended a speaking club and we watched like a very short video on some topic. And then we discussed different points based on this video. And I think it's really productive because some videos are really short and you can watch them even in class. And then it can really encourage the discussion because students know about what to talk, what are we going to discuss, and sometimes it's a really spark of the discussion in class.
Okay, that's nice. In the discussion after watching the videos, do you remind your friends or your students that the discussion must be in this area only? Do you do that? Because I'm just afraid that the discussion is getting wide and wide. They don't focus on what they are supposed to discuss. What about you?
And prepare some questions based on this video. That's how we can keep students from rambling. So we can really write down the point or main points or make the presentation, so we can follow a certain order of questions.
Okay, very good. And then the next one, the key takeaways, everyone. I think all of us agree that speaking needs practice. This is not an instant practice. This is not an instant area that we want to enhance. If we want to be a fluent speaker, we need sometimes to practice here and there, over and over again. The next one is we have to use interactive activities. Try to use interactive activities as many as possible because we will get interested in interactive activities. We will not get interested in speaking if we use only the words, only the flat activities, the common one, but we have to use interactive activities. Create a supportive classroom atmosphere. Yeah. And then use technology. Why using technology? Because technology can enhance learning. Okay, everyone. I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions, everyone, or something to discuss related to how to teach speaking? I actually have asked you before, yeah, about what media works you best and about the strategy you usually use in practicing speaking. Yeah, that's really good to discuss. Yeah, this is one of the simplest way to be able to speak fluently by practicing speaking with simple topic. And then try to ask your friends feedback, what to improve, whether my pronunciation is still worse or I have to improve to use the varieties of vocabularies. Like when I'm teaching academic speaking, they use common vocabularies and I ask them to use academic words. In the next meeting, they are well prepared to use academic vocabularies. Okay, everyone, do you have any question or something to discuss? Not yet? Okay, let's take picture together.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, once again. Hold on a second. I will take picture. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yes, thank you, everyone. See you when I see you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Bye.